What's up, everybody? Welcome to SnailMail.
What up?
How's everyone doing today? How are you, Jimmy? More importantly,
I don't know about more importantly, but I am
definitely
doing
more important.
fine. Thank you.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. When are we going back to the meadery? I don't know. Did we ever go to the meadery?
I've never been.
What?
I haven't been to the meeting.
All right, cutting this short. Let's go.
All right. Nice talking to you.
See you,
Bye.
everybody. Oh, man.
Yeah, I want to go.
It's great.
I know it's over in
stuff.
Rancho, right?
Yeah, it's over by Metal Cloak.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, shall we go there too?
You
just saw them, so.
Yeah, I don't need to see Will again.
Okay.
Um,
Maybe we'll invite Will out to the meeting.
There we go. Let's just invite the whole Metal Cloak crew out.
I still have my 10 pounds of honey.
Oh, really? You just haven't used any?
I haven't.
Yet?
I still want to make mead one day. Who's our buddy out there that was talking about beer? Hit me up. I want to talk
Wasn't
about
it-
making mead.
Not Zach from Oklahoma.
Oh, that was somebody else.
Beer Craig.
Beer Craig.
Yeah, Beer Craig.
Did you look back and find that?
No, he has a voicemail coming up.
Oh, good. Beer Craig. Is it about mead?
Hey, from
Don't read it.
Oklahoma, it's Oklahoma Beer Craig here. That's all I got in the first sentence.
Okay. Well, Beer Craig, if your voicemail is not about mead, call back and let's talk about mead.
Perfect. All right, so talking about voicemails. We got some voicemails.
Yeah.
We have a bunch. I don't know how many we have.
Well, we gained 3 more. So I think we did 5 last time and we grew 3.
Cool. So
Something like that.
Yeah.
So we're plus 10.
There we go. Perfect. All right. So first one here.
It's the easy math, Tyler.
I like it. I like easy math. We got Brian from New York.
Brian from New York. Thanks for calling in. 916-345-4744 if you want to leave us a voicemail.
Mm-hmm. This is kind of like, I don't know, after hours show or whatnot, but kind of everything goes. Anything and everything goes. And I mean, pretty much everything goes on our normal episodes too. But
yeah, I was like, where are you going with this? Because
I don't know.
We kind of have more of a topic, or we have more topics or themes of what we do on the normal episodes. But this is, you guys control the show.
That's true. Yeah.
So you call in, you talk, and we react in a way. So you can, whatever you guys throw at us.
Sweet. Let's see what, it looks like he has a WJ. Should we pass it?
Yep, skip.
All right. Now let's see what he has to say.
Hey, Snail Trail. This is Brian from New York. I have a question about tires.
Ooh, I like tires.
I'm going to be upgrading the tires on my WJ to 33s soon. And I remember an episode it was probably months and months ago now regarding hybrid tires that cross between all-terrain and mud terrain.
Yes.
I was wondering if you guys had any recommendations for that on the brand or where to get them. I'm upgrading to 33s, but I wanted to experiment with them because I remember you guys saying that they were quieter on the road. They still had the aggressive treads on them. So if you have brand recommendations, for reference, they're going to be 33s going on to 17-inch rims. I know the voicemail said questions on Toyotas, and technically this is a Jeep question, but I'm hoping that you guys can answer it for me anyway, because I really love the podcast. Despite it being Toyota-oriented, it's given me a lot of great information for the off-roading scene since I started getting into it. Anyway, I'm going to listen to next week's episode to hear my annoying voice on the air, and I hope you guys have some kind of answers, or somebody can come up with an answer once they hear my question. Thank you.
So he called in on Leap Day, February 29th.
Okay. Yep. Next episode. Sorry, Brian.
Sorry, Brian. I had a baby in between those times. No, great question. I know what I'm going to say, and I think I know what you're going to say.
I'm not going to say what you're going to say.
Oh, okay.
Well, I would, but I don't. So you're going to say you really love the Yokohama X ATs.
I do. That's
and
an awesome
they are
tire.
a fantastic tire, but they're not a hybrid tire.
They're an extreme all-terrain.
They're an extreme all-terrain. So if he's
if you're
looking
guess,
for an all-terrain that is more aggressive, then I think both of us agree, and even Morphlate Ryan loves his as well. The XAT from Yokohama is a fantastic tire.
Yeah.
But it is more of an extreme all-terrain tire.
That's fair. Okay.
There are hybrid tires out there, some hybrid tires out there. I looked up I just searched hybrid tires online. So the Cooper Discovery Trek came up. The Toyo Country RT comes up, which is the one I had in my mind primarily. Let's see here. The Goodyear Wrangler Authority AT looks like a hybrid tire. Why don't you explain?
But it says AT.
It does say AT, but it has, so a hybrid tire to me means that it has an AT internal design in the middle of the tire.
The center tread.
Center tread is sort of all-terrain tire looking. And then the lugs that are on this, like near the sidewalls, look like they should be on a mud terrain.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So when you air up and you inflate your tire and your footprint becomes small, it's only really hitting the center of the tire, and you're riding on that all-terrain style.
Yeah.
When you air down and you get this booger footprint, a big booger footprint, then you're riding on the AT stuff, but you're also adding in the mixture of the MT outer sidewalls.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
that's kind of how I'm looking at that. So the Toyo Country AT3 looks like a good one as well. And then, here it is. This is the one I was thinking of.
That tread pattern of the Toyo Open Country AT3 looks very similar to the XAT tread pattern.
Kind of, yeah. Is this the one you're looking at? Just so we're on the same page if it ever opens up.
Yep. That's what I'm looking at right now.
So it's the interior looks the same, but the exterior, the outer side, I think is it a little more aggressive?
Yeah, I mean, it's got a little bit more aggressive shoulder lugs. It has lugs, I think, is the important part. It's got shoulder lugs rather than like a tread pattern per se.
Right. So here's one that I was thinking of that I haven't tried yet, and I've never heard anybody tell me any experience with it yet because it's a brand new tire from BFG.
Oh, okay.
It is the HD Terrain TA KT is the name, is what they had. It has an AT style inside and the lugs on the exterior. It's a brand new style tire that came out from BFG, so I have not heard much about it. The fact that it says HD slightly concerns me because I hope it's not heavy duty.
Yeah.
Because you probably don't want a heavy duty tire if you're going to be off-roading. I would say, I don't know what you drive, Brian. Oh, well, it's a WJ. So never mind. I do know what you drive, but I don't know exactly what year it is. But WJs aren't terribly heavy. It's not like you're on a full-size vehicle. So probably C rating, D rating is all you're going to want, especially if you're going to be off-roading.
Yeah.
So if that is a heavy-duty tire, then I would not go for it. But I'm kind of interested to hear somebody's review on that tire.
Yeah. So in terms of like tires with that sort of tread pattern for a hybrid tire, right? Stuff that I've had in the past that I liked generally.
Yeah.
The Maxxis Bighorn tire is one has that similar style tread pattern. Yeah. The Milestar Patagonias, the Patagonias have they're spot on with that pattern, but they have
their wear pattern.
38s, 37s, and lower have wider shoulder lugs. Once you get into the 40s, their shoulder lugs get narrower, which really bugs me. But and 33s, that's really what you're looking for. So
Patagonias might be good, but I've heard slight things about they wear fast and they have soft sidewalls.
Yeah, they're a little softer.
Depending on what wheeling you're doing, I don't know exactly. I'm assuming wheeling out in New York in that area is just a lot of mud. So you're hitting things more at speed. And if you're airing your tires down, then you could pinch flat.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I would say look at the Yokohama XATs and then check out that BFG tire as long as it's not
like that tread pattern.
Heavy duty.
Yeah,
avoid the heavy duty.
Terrain TA.
Yeah, they probably come in. The one I saw that I just quickly pulled up was an E rating, but I wouldn't get an E rating tire for your rig.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Not for an off-road overlander style rig.
Yeah. If you're doing off-road overlanding, you don't need it because you're not carrying that much weight. Your vehicle's not that heavy.
Yep.
So check those out.
Other ones that have that similar style tread pattern, we've talked about the Toyo Open Country RT.
Yep.
The KO2 is an aggressive all-terrain that I think does really, really well in a lot of different circumstances.
Yeah. It's such a tried and true tire.
It's not quite a hybrid tire that we're talking about, but it does do really well in a lot of different circumstances and has good road manners.
Yeah.
So
I almost got a set of those for the Tacoma.
Yeah.
Just because I don't need MTs on my Tacoma, and I use it mainly as a daily driver, and then every once in a while I do some road trips, and I almost never off-road that rig.
Yeah.
And so I was going to go with an AT, and the BFG ATs, KO2s, have been around forever and are a great tire.
Yep. Cool. I like it.
Okay.
Let's see.
Yeah, thanks for calling in, Brian.
Yeah. Next one is from Lance, not the company.
Sweet.
Let's see what Lance got to say today.
Hey, Tyler and Jimmy, it's Lance, not the company. I was just listening to 481. Actually, I'm in the middle of listening to 481, but I had to touch on this while I was thinking about it. Jimmy was talking about the motor officers out there busting people in the diamond lane and everything like that. And I had actually heard from the CHP themselves that what they were actually doing, their enforcement with all the motor officers, they have a special program going right now where their enforcement is for cell phone users, which I don't disagree with. I mean, as a semi-driver, I can see all the stupidity around me, so I get it. But the other one was no seatbelt. And I think it's kind of funny that Sacramento was listed as the second worst drivers in the nation, and their special program, which costs extra money, was based on no seatbelts and cell phone use instead of people running red lights or just general traffic enforcement as a whole. Like, it makes no sense to me. So, anyway, but that's what they're out there doing. So just make sure you have your seatbelt on and not looking at your cell phone, and you'll be fine. I mean, I guess at this point, you can probably drive in the diamond lane all you want. Anyway,
right.
6 out of 5 every time. You guys have a great day.
Thanks, Lance.
Thanks, Lance. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know Sacramento is the second worst city to drive in.
I mean,
worst drivers.
Yeah, I probably adhere to that statistic because I've been trained by Sacramento.
I like to think I'm better.
Yeah, right. I there's definitely every single time out, I'm like, what the hell is this person thinking while they're driving? But at the same time, it's 10 times worse in the Bay Area.
Yeah,
I can't drive in the Bay Area anymore. I can't do it.
But there's 100 times more people, so really it's the
maybe it's
percentage
per capita.
Yeah.
Maybe per capita, I could see that. I could see that statistic.
So going back to that episode,
yeah,
we had talked about I think it was buses in the Diamond Lane.
Oh, okay.
And I ran into a CHP officer, not our buddy CHP officer, just a random guy at a gas station that pulled up next to me when I was filling up my tank. And I said, "Hey, when you're done filling up your tank, I got a question for you." And he's like, "Well, just shoot it now."
Okay.
So I started asking him about Diamond Lane.
And
I asked him about buses, like big Greyhound buses in the Diamond Lane. And he said they're allowed in the Diamond Lane because it's all one vehicle that has multiple axles.
Yeah.
Not like a trailer that is 2 parts to a vehicle. Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, because they have more than 2 people.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, and they're just one unit. Like it's all one vehicle that have more than one axle. And I was like, oh.
Okay.
Okay. That makes sense.
That makes sense.
So that was the answer to that question.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. All right.
That's right, because the sign that we saw was vehicles with more than 2 axles not allowed, or it said something with not more than 2 axles not allowed.
Trailers.
I don't know, maybe.
I don't remember the Diamond Lane one. So.
All right, well, cool. Don't play on your phone and wear your seatbelts.
Please.
Yep. I think that goes with what we were talking about from your Moab episode.
100%.
All right, next one. I don't see a name on here. So let's see what this person has to say.
I think it's time that you guys need to come down to Southern California and wheel down here a little bit more. You keep having all these SoCal references that are throwing me off. Chris Reed, the Ultra 4 wrong seat driver, grew up in the same town I grew up in, riding dirt bikes, and now you have Jay Lightning. He was a music or a radio producer on the Kevin and Bean show that I listened to for 10 years. It keeps throw me off hearing all these voices and names from down in Southern California. So come on down. Let's go to Big Bear. Let's do some wheeling in Southern California. My name is Zach. Keep crawling.
I like it.
I'm down.
Yep.
Let's do it.
Yeah. I can go as long as I can make it a day trip.
Oh, shit. I'll hold you to that.
Yeah. I don't know with the Lance. I mean, once the kid is, I'm pushing for 3 months old to start trying to do some overnight stuff.
Okay.
And so far, I've been surprised at the secretary going out to like Prairie City.
Yeah, I was
with
super
us.
surprised.
Not even a month old yet. So, and those trips have all gone really well.
Okay.
So I'm hoping that I can keep pushing it and see if we can do like a simple overnighter in the Lance out to
the in-laws' house.
Out to the in-laws' house. That would be a good test for it. Yeah, I don't know, somewhere.
Yeah, to my driveway.
Yeah, I'll go camping at the Jimmy's compound.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a couple things I'm going to try and push around 2 months old to do some tests.
Okay.
With her and the kid and just be like, we can do this.
Well, that's coming up in a few weeks now.
I know, like 3 weeks.
It's 6 weeks old.
Well, it was March 6th was his birthday.
Yeah, so like, almost 2 weeks.
He's coming up, man. Yeah, I'm down. We're gonna be hopefully down in Fresno in Clovis.
Yeah,
at the Clovis Rodeo Fairgrounds. Was that June 1st? June 5th.
June. It's the June or July 1st. It's June 1st, I think.
June 1st.
Yep.
For the celebration of life from Marlon Chikowski.
Yep.
So I don't know, Zach, if you can make it up to that, that'd be kind of cool. It's kind of the halfway point. Love to shake your hand, say hi. But yeah, otherwise we'll see what we can do. I'd love to do some more wheeling down SoCal and check that place out more.
There's a lot of spots that I would love to go to.
I really want to go to Red Rock Canyon.
Okay. Yeah.
I haven't been to Red Rock since I was a little kid, like 4 or 5 years old.
I want to do the Mojave Road.
That'd be fun too.
Yeah. And it's not a difficult thing. It's just long.
Yeah.
So not something I would take Bobcat on.
Yeah.
It would be Charlotte for sure.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. We got another one here from Lance.
Cool.
Not the company.
I hope he's doing okay. I think I saw he got in an accident.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't see that. Was it serious?
Maybe he's talking about it in this one. I don't know. No,
March 5th.
I don't know how serious it was, but he said, thanks everybody for asking. I'm doing fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, let's see what he's got to say here.
Hey, Jimmy and Tyler, Lance, not the company. I was thinking today, because I was looking at the pictures of Kermit on the tracks and how everything's laid out, and I was just kind of curious if there is any change in the way your four-wheel underground suspension operates, articulates, with the tracks on there, because obviously it's obviously a completely different setup than having wheels and tires. So I was just curious if that changes the geometry at all, if it changes the way it articulates and moves. While I'm driving my truck up into Auburn, I was just kind of curious how that all operates. So anyway, as always, 6 out of 5 every time. And thanks a lot, guys.
So I'll answer the theoretical, and you can answer the how it actually practical.
Sure.
Theoretically, no.
Right.
The geometry is all fixed. That's the point, and the benefit of doing links is that your geometry is fixed. It never changes, assuming your joints and adjustment links and everything don't adjust on themselves. But yeah, everything is fixed the same. Everything stays the same. It all flexes out the exact same. The main difference is that you're more likely to get a track into the body of your vehicle than a wheel and a tire from when your suspension is set up. Because typically you set up your suspension for the wheels and tires, not the tracks.
Sure.
And then ideally you limit the track rotation so it can't get up into the body, but it can happen, as MF Ryan found out. Luckily for me, my axles are so wide that my tracks clear the body on inverting by about 1/4 inch.
Right.
So
they actually hit your bumper.
Yeah.
But they're clear of the body.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so one thing I wanted to do was at the Sue's benefit out at Prairie City if it wasn't raining, Metal Cloak was going to bring out the CTI trailer. And I wanted to put the 4Runner on the CTI trailer on the tracks.
That'd be funny.
And just flex it and see if the tracks are going to be contacting anything anywhere. Right. But yeah, so that's the theory behind it. Your suspension geometry and flex and articulation doesn't change at all. That's all done through the axles and the suspension geometry, not from the wheel mount surface outwards. Practically using the vehicle, what'd you find?
I found that it worked just the same. I mean, the 4-wheel underground kit is phenomenal, and Brian's figured out all the geometry and movement for that, and it works fine with the tires, and it works phenomenal with tires, and it works great with tracks as well. The downside to tracks, in a way, is that you can air down a tire and you get some suspension work with the tire.
Yeah.
There's no suspension between the tracks and the axle.
True.
So hitting things, like when I was cruising along, sometimes I would hit a snowmobile track, and it would hit harder than I would have expected because there's no tire there to take any of the cushion.
Yeah.
So that was the major difference that I noticed. Mm-hmm. And that's nothing to do with the suspension. It's everything to do with no tires.
Yeah. So you didn't air down your tracks at all when you were out there?
I did bring the Morphlate because I had plans to try and shoot a funny video doing that. Or something funny like, hey, I stole Tyler's rig and I brought my Morphlate, but I can't figure out how to connect my Morphlate to these tracks.
That's funny.
But I didn't have time to do that. But I did notice that, or it was pointed out to me the other day when Ryan was taking the rig off, that one of the caps for your bump stop is gone.
Yep.
So I don't know if it unthreaded itself somewhere or what, but
it had to have. We dove into that a little bit, and the rubber cap is held into a aluminum housing by pins, not a cotter pin, but a dowel pin.
Oh, okay.
And then that housing is threaded into the bump shaft. The shaft.
Okay.
And so that shaft is the way that oh my God, who's my coilover company? Our coilover Radflow, thank you. The way that Radflow does it is they put some heavy duty Loctite on those threads in there. And I think that my bump stop had gotten assembled without the Loctite, and it just kind of rattled itself loose.
Interesting. So was the pin still there, or was the pin in the part that fell out?
It was in the part that fell out, yeah.
Okay.
So we stole one off of your air bumps.
Perfect.
That's still in the warehouse here.
Well, I probably owed you one anyway because it probably got lost on my trip. Because, it didn't look like there was any impacts from the shaft hitting the bump stop plate.
Correct, yeah.
Because we looked at that. Mm-hmm. So probably didn't come off on Ryan's and probably fell off on mine. Mm-hmm. And at some point before I ever used the bump stops. So after.
The good news is we know how it all goes back together. So we just need that little replacement part. I don't know how much it is, but it's a very simple, small part that they probably have laying around.
Brian.
Yeah.
Help a brother out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I hope that answers your question. And everything works the same in physical and reality and theory. And it's just a matter of no cushion on the tire for the tracks.
Yep. One thing that does change with the tracks, between the tracks and tires, is a gear ratio.
Absolutely.
You actually get a gear reduction. Was it 22?
It was like 17.
17.
Yeah.
So 17% gear reduction when you're running the tracks from what you have with tires and wheels.
Yeah.
So let's see. We got, I think, time for one more.
Sure.
Sean Speggitti.
Sean Speggitti.
Yeah. Oh, he's got a long one.
All right.
That's giggity. Let's see what Sean has to say.
Hey, Jimmy and Tyler. It's Speggitti. Just giving you a call. Just catching up with the episodes. Couple things. The organization, Jimmy, that you were talking about we're part of versus the other one. The way we like to claim it is the other organization, and they're alcoholics that like history, and we are history people that like alcohol. Is the way that we refer to it as. I'm not going to name the organization, so we can talk about that privately. As far as the episode of driving, a couple things with the HOV lanes, when we were talking about people being in there versus not. The way a lot of people think of it, especially for a lot of commuters, I go over the Bay Area from Santa Rosa, going all the way down to San Jose, to Sacramento, and everywhere in between. How much time is your driving worth? Sitting in the traffic with it by myself, is it worth it for time-wise? Sometimes I'm in traffic 4 to 8 hours a day, depending on where I'm going. That times your hourly wage. It's more cost-effective to drive in the carpool lane for a $400 ticket than it is to spend 4 hours in traffic, for some people's opinion. I am against that. I don't use the carpool lane personally, just to clarify that one. But secondly, as you guys were mentioning, the number one lane. The reason why the number one lane is the left lane is because you cannot expand further into the medium. That's the reason why it's the number one lane. That's why the right lane is not the number one lane, because on and off ramps can make it confusing. So that's why the number one lane is always the left lane. The number one lane is not the fast lane. There is no such thing as a fast lane. It is the passing lane. So that's the reason why you should always be in the number two lane, except to pass, is the way that it's actually worded. You'll never hear a cop say, oh yeah, you're in the fast lane. You're in the passing lane is the way it's worded, which is a misconception for a lot of people of us here in California. So, great talking to you guys. Keep calling. Talk to you later. Bye.
Yeah, that's a good point. Couple really good points. When I was doing my sales rep position, having to drive to the Bay Area a lot, I definitely found myself contemplating that exact thing. I was like, do I just sit here in traffic for 4 hours of my day, or do I risk a $400 ticket and get there somewhere in an hour?
Sure.
And I'm like, what's more cost effective ultimately when it comes down to it? And I never went for it, but I've a lot found myself thinking about that and thinking, this is bullshit. I hate traffic.
Yeah. Yeah. And good point about the number one lane.
Yes.
I never thought about it that way.
Yeah, I didn't think about
that. Makes complete sense.
About
now that you
not being able to expand further than the median. So that's why it's always number one.
Right.
Yeah.
And I've always thought, I knew that it was a passing lane, but really in California, it's the get to quickly lane.
Yeah. Well, you have to go fast in order to pass people, right?
Yeah. Well,
so
you should be going the speed limit, and the slower people should be that you are passing are in the number 2 or 3.
So here's the interesting thing about California speed laws, right?
Sure. I'm ready.
There is, and I don't know if it's explicitly states somewhere another way, but I've always heard it as there's a speed limit to the roads. But the overall law is you go what is safe for current conditions. For current driving conditions, I believe is how it's worded.
Yes.
So if everybody around you is going faster than the speed limit, then
it's the current conditions.
Are you now making an unsafe situation by not going with the flow of traffic and going slower?
I'm pretty sure that when they state current conditions, they are referring to weather.
But they don't state it that way. They state it as current driving conditions.
Yeah. So if the entire freeway is going 90 miles an hour and you're going the speed limit of 65,
you're now causing you could very well kill somebody.
Yeah, I'm not arguing that statement, but
now in actuality, how often is that really happening? I don't think it really ever does happen where the entire freeway is going that way. But I've always thought like my brain doesn't work in the form of reality, right?
Sure.
My brain works of what is the potential here for how they worded this.
Yeah. I've always thought that like if I'm driving down here to the studio from my house and the speed limit's 65 miles an hour, in theory I could go up to 120 because I'm only going to be out for half an hour.
Well, I'm sorry, what? Explain that to me.
Well, I'm not out for the full hour. I'm not here for 65 in an hour. I'm here
miles per hour.
I'm here for half an hour, so I should be able to double it.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm still doing 65 an hour.
That's true. Yeah. I can't argue against it.
I'm not going to be out that long.
This is like how men math works with power tools.
More ugga-duggas.
Yeah.
Bring it.
Oh man. Yeah, though that's some fun stuff. I always love digging into vehicle law. So
yeah, and then Sean, let's reconvene with this drinking thing.
The Drinking Historical Society.
Yeah, any of them. Let's just have a beer.
All right, so we did a few there. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 still now.
Oh my gosh.
So keep those voicemails coming, guys. We're going to end this snail mail here, and we'll get to some more next week.
Yeah. And I believe we are back on a roll. So snail mails are going to be happening more frequently now. Mm-hmm. And if you want to call in and get your voicemail played on the air, that number is area code 916-345-4744.
Sounds good. I like it. Looking forward to hearing from everybody. And I guess with that, should I say it?
If you want.
We're out.
The number you have called has been disconnected.